Die Winslyn-span het by entrepreneur Alan-Knott Craig gaan kuier om meer oor hom te leer ken.
The most important piece of advice, in my opinion, is that you have to focus if you want to succeed. Particularly if you're in tech, which is where I am. There's lots of shiny objects, lots of opportunities. It's easy to get distracted. But the way to focus is not to will yourself to that. That just leads to kind of fatigue, and by mid-morning you're unfocused. And keeping your life simple, financially, so that you don't find yourself distracted by debt or fancy things. And finding love, because if you've taken the love factor out of your life, then you'll find a lot more energy to focus on your business. As an entrepreneur, I need to make money. There's really no other definition for an entrepreneur. It's easy to fail when you're in business, so it's important to have some goal other than making money. So almost everything I do now, I have the privilege to be trying to make a difference in a country like South Africa with lots of problems. And if it doesn't work out, at least I made a difference. But if it does work out, there's a pot of gold at the end of all of those rainbows. So the biggest problem in a country like South Africa, and for most countries in Africa, is inequality. For me, the way to tackle that is to deal with unequal access to opportunity. Not so much about trying to give everybody the same standard of education, but to give everybody the same opportunity to educate themselves. Now, the way the internet has evolved is it started with desktop internet, and then it moved to mobile apps. And mobile apps started out as purely virtual creatures. So Facebook and Twitter and those types of things are really just the virtual world only. In the last 7 years or so, it's evolved towards a hybrid between the real world and virtual. So Uber is the internet combining with actual drivers and cars on the road to basically take out the middleman and make the world a better place. So that's the big opportunity in a country like South Africa, is how do you take the power of the internet and integrate it into the daily life of people on the ground and tackle problems that the state is trying to tackle. So whether that's healthcare or education or job creation. So anybody focusing on state problems using the internet in the real world environment has the potential to make a lot of money. The way I deal with competition is I find games that nobody else is playing, and I play in those games. And I win because nobody else is racing against me. And as soon as somebody comes along to my little game, I try to find something else. One of the best books you can read is something called Anti-Fragile by Nassim Taleb. It's a life philosophy for how to build your life in such a way that it doesn't matter what happens, good or bad, you get to benefit. And if you can create a life like that, it takes away a lot of the fear. If you want to get ahead in life, you need to take fear out of your life. And if you build an anti-fragile life, the way Nassim Taleb describes it, it's a good way to minimize fear. The new president for our country completely changes sentiment. Sentiment is more important than almost anything. Confidence is almost more important than anything. So I think that the positive sentiment will wash away all the mistakes and mishaps that will happen along the way. So I think if you're in business right now, in the private sector, you stand to benefit from a 2, 3, 4 year massively bullish economic run. And as long as the politics of South Africa kind of moves in the right direction under Cyril Ramaphosa, then I think the next 10 years are actually looking very, very good. But fundamentally, I think it doesn't really matter what happens with the presidency, because what really makes me optimistic about the future is the internet. So the more people that have access to information and access to opportunity through the internet, the better political decisions we'll have, the better elections we'll have, the more people we'll have entering the economy, and the more jobs we'll have, the more economic growth we'll have. And this internet wave, you just can't stop. So it doesn't really matter who the president is, there's going to be always, every day, more people on the internet, and I just think that makes the world a better place.